I guess I will start. So hello, my name is Marek Hencl, and today I prepared a presentation, Hacking in the Gray Zone, number 2. It's a deep dive into the topic of info stealers. Now, as I start, I had a similar presentation about half a year ago at the B-Sides. Anybody saw this presentation? Okay, so we get 10% of the crowd, let's say. And when I mention info stealers, who here knows what info stealers is? Raise your hand. And keep your hand raised. Have you seen info stealer logs? So have you had a chance to have a deep dive? So we got about 12%. And anybody infected by info stealers? Hopefully never, but this is a presentation to give you a little bit of insight of what info stealers is and what to watch out for, and hopefully you take something away from it and pass on the word. So first of all, a few words about myself. So who am I? About a year ago, somebody called me a technology anarchist, and when I heard it, I'm like, "What, anarchist? That doesn't sound very good." So when I got home, I looked it up, I Googled it, ChatGPT'd it, and I found out that really a technology anarchist, it's somebody who's a open source technology diehard. It's somebody who advocates for system decentralization, so sort of going against the sort of centralizing everything. Emphasizing technology anarchist is somebody who has a focus on freedom. But for me, what's one of the key attributes is really somebody who takes care and views their privacy and anonymity on the web as a key. And one of the characteristics also that was listed there that is a little bit part of me is sharing the know-how, the skills, doing some education and training, and hopefully I pass on some interesting information to you regarding info stealers. So that's me. And so why am I here? Yeah, why am I talking here today about info stealers? And the reason is about a year ago, a good friend of mine told me, "Hey, I have a startup, and what I do is I go and search the darknet, and I go to different forums and to Telegram and to different groups, and I try to collect all the leak credentials that have been published on the darknet. And when I collect it, I basically sort it, I categorize it, I process it, and I'm building a big database that basically is going to be a tool that notifies individuals, companies that they've been compromised, and they get notifications. So when we see something published on the darknet, we grab it, and as soon as possible, we let the people know, hey, your data is on the darknet, it's being sold, and it's being used by cyber criminals. And the hard part is to take the data, and because it's typically text logs, and to actually parse it and make the database. And but he's saying, what I'm really focusing on is to build a database that's simple, where you can go in and very easily query and basically get domain related information, basically extract it from the logs. And the thing that I'm trying to do is accomplish it maximum simplicity. So basically have a list, more or less a table like Excel, and then there be able to see the output, no ballast, no bells and whistles. It's really about the credentials. And when I saw it, because I'm into privacy, and I've been doing a lot of things about metadata and being able to see the little bit of information you have maybe in some in some packets, basically the fact that you're communicating with the system is really revealing a lot about what is happening on the other side, what is happening with the individual. So for an example, right, if metadata, you don't have to listen to the telephone call. It's enough to know that maybe there's been a lot of telephone calls to the lawyer, last week, or maybe there was a lot of telephone calls to doctors, and this metadata is very telling because it's telling you either you're solving something, legal, or maybe you're solving some health issues. So to me, the metadata is the key. And when I looked at my friend's database, what was in there, I was blown away. I mean, not looking at the credentials, not looking at the websites, just the metadata, what it contained, taken from the users, was just so revealing. And you get all types of information. You get it from name, contacts, birthdays, where the person basically serves, what banking, where they do their banking. So based on this, let's say, interaction, because I did a lot of consulting, I decided, yes, this is an area in cybersecurity that, in my view, is very important, because if you look at the cyber threats that are out there, especially for corporations, the number one cyber threat is the internal user, right? The employee, the contractor, and this is where is the most probability you have a leak or your data compromised. And in my view, the second biggest area is the employee, contractor, partner gets infected, and through those infected data, bad guys get into the infrastructure. So to me, this is the top number two, let's say, way how data can get misused and how you can be, let's say, damaged in the digital world. And then, of course, there's the topic of cookies, where it's not only about having the credentials, but also seeing the cookies that fill in the picture of what the user is doing, but also the cookies having the ability, and I'll probably mention it many times, is to bypass to multi-factor authentication. Yeah, so I mean, the problem with info stealers is not only that your passwords are out there to the accounts, but the problem is that also if the application is not set up properly, that somebody doesn't even need to know your password. They don't need to be on the mobile to verify the authentication. They can just use the token cookie. So when I saw it, I basically changed my professional life in certain respects, and I started paying attention to the area of cyber threat intelligence, specifically the info stealers part. So what is info stealers? As I said, it's a malware. It's malicious, and the whole purpose is to get inside your computer, maybe hang out there for a little while, and then scrape as much data from your computer as it can, and send it to the malicious actor. You have passwords, cookies. I mean, big part of the info stealers is to get to your financial information. So part of info stealer focus is to try and get your credit cards, or also to get the crypto wallets, and then somehow for them to be misused. Yeah, you have a fingerprint of browsers in there, so it's not only that you have the passwords taken away, but also the attacker knows what browser you use, what software you have on there. There's just tons of information inside the info stealer logs, and we'll have a closer look at what is inside. So maybe let me start with a little story. About 3 months ago, I talked to another friend of mine, and he told me, yeah, so we just got a new function in our tool, and now we are able to identify credit cards and be able to parse credit cards and show it on our tool. And he's saying, well, so I looked at it, and I saw some guy, some record, and there was 5 credit cards that were published to darknet, and it was in the database. So I decided what I normally do, pick up the phone and call them, and I said, hey, we're Alerts Bar, and we collect stolen credentials from the darknet, and your credit cards have appeared on in our database. We parsed it, and it would be good for you to, take care and change it with the bank. And if you need, we can give you some help to, make sure that the impact of your data being on the darknet is minimized. So it'll help you change all your passwords, so on and so forth. And the other guy on the phone, he said, well, who are you? I don't trust you. Please leave me alone. No, don't contact me again. And then my friend says, well, so what can you do? This is, typically a frequent situation. And guess what? A week later, the guy called me back, and he's like, yeah, can you please help me? Well, yeah, all my credit cards, they're down to zero. They stole 50,000 of my dollars. I contacted the bank, and the bank told me, well, everything's in order. Yeah, and there's nothing suspicious about your transaction. Sorry, I mean, you lost $50,000. I mean, yeah, well, I have no money now. It's all gone. Can you help me? So my friend said, well, yeah. So I wrote a letter to the bank explaining to the bank that what we do, and that his data was on the darknet, and but that's all I could do. It was too late. Yeah. So let's go to story 2. So I thought, okay, that's interesting, and then I have access to this tool. I've been playing with it for the last year, looking here and there, trying to help people out. So I think, okay, credit cards, that's interesting. So I had a look. I researched a little bit about credit cards. So I found out that a credit card, the first 6 numbers, it's a BIN number, and it identifies the bank and the product. I looked up these BIN numbers. I contacted one of the cybersecurity guys at one of the big banks, and I said, hey, we offer info stealers. It's great for your cyber defense team, to have it on your SOC team, and if some data is leaked by your employee or maybe by your customer, you can react to it. And by the way, we have this new function. We have also credit cards in the data, so maybe we can have a meeting with your fraud department. And so we set up the meeting. I presented the product and showed them what we have. And then at the end of the meeting, we said, well, basically, okay, well, let me give you the last few records of July. It was middle of July. There was about 20 records that showed up in the database. Let me pass you those 20 records, and you let us know what you think. Is there some new credit cards in there or not? And basically the feedback to me was quite surprising, because the answer, first of all, very, very polite. I was thanked, and I was told, yes, only 12 of the credit cards were relevant, because I just gave them the raw data. So some credit cards were already past expiry. There were some duplications. So only 12 were relevant. And in the end, they told me, well, we blocked two of the cards. But the answer that horrified me, and it is a typical answer, I would say, in the market, is because of the effort and our limited resources. Unfortunately, we have to say your tool is not perspective. And here I'm thinking is, wow, we just saved 2 people from a big headache, from big hassles of having their money stolen by them blocking 2 cards. This is manual work. Of course, it would not be so much effort, but it was very disappointing to hear this response. And for me, it's okay. So what do we do with this problem? If you contact the end user, yeah, they think you're some sort of a crook, and they don't really want to talk to you. If you go to the corporation, well, they have other priorities, so they don't really care about it. So what to do about it? So let me then go back and show you a little bit what is really inside. So the tool I've been started to use is Alerts Bar, and as I said, it has some old records, but it mainly focuses on the info stealers part. And maybe I give you a little short demo. Let me just go over to the screen. And basically, there's two parts to the tool. There's the public part, which anybody can use, and it's sort of like have I been pawned, except instead of putting your email, you put in the domain. So we can maybe put VUT.cz, and you can get a good idea, how exposed the organization, that specific domain is. Or you can even put your email if you want to monitor once in a while, to see if there's any records that have popped up. But this is a sort of a nice general tool. It gives you an indication of where you are. It has two parts. The one part, the yellow, this is sort of your typical Tinder, Facebook sort of leaks that are published. Tens of millions of accounts were leaked on the web with emails and login. So that's the yellow part. And the red part is what is really concerning. This is the info stealers. This is when the actual complete data set from your computer is taken. So here what we can see, for example, for VUT is that in the month there's 45 new records. Sometimes they're duplicated. But it is an indicator that, yes, people at VUT, users or people who use the applications at VUT are infected. Maybe we can also take a quick look. Let me adopt it. Is maybe we can try searching maybe credit cards, see if somebody showed up. Anybody wants to volunteer their first 6 digit of their credit card? Yeah, we can do a little bit of a live demo. The difficult part is the other module that I want to show is the administrator, and you have the password, and it can be misused. But if you like, we can do a quick run. So any volunteers, and we can just sort of see. So let me prepare it. So I need the first 6 digits, and let me just prepare it. Yes, so I'm listening. 5168 44. Okay, so I will just do a quick search. I hide the. Okay, I have to totally hide the name. Hide column, and we try to. Okay, so. Let's see how this shows. So basically the tool, as I mentioned, it's very much a simple list. Here you see the bin numbers. You see the comp ID. This is a specific, this is the actual infected user. You have the credit cards. And at the left-hand corner, you actually see when they were infected. So last night, into the database, came in 2 new credit cards. By the number, it's 2 different users, and whatever bank you gave me is it's the 2 clients of that bank. So every day there is new, let's say, logs coming in, and we see that there's some poor fellas or gals who unfortunately have been have had their computer compromised. So let's go back. So that's a little bit about showing you the tool and what type of data is on there. And here maybe it's just a summary how it works. So the thing that I love about the alerts bar is the simplicity. Yeah. So you have a brief overview. So you see there's only 1 leak for this user, 1 leaked information. This is some old false positive data. But you see there's, for example, 12 info stealers infections listed here. There's 13, let's say, heap infections. These are not complete info stealer logs, password, user login. So typically also not false positive. Then you see that for this specific user, there's lots of cookies that were taken. This was, I think, for a specific email. You also can basically for each log, you can go deep dive, so you can look at the PC and then get the whole record of what has been taken away. And yeah, you see where the person serves in the URL. So you get a lot of metadata and a lot of context of what that person is doing. So there's, I would say, this part. And then there's the cookies, which I mentioned. And one big takeaway from the info stealers is two-factor authentication works, especially for the taken, stolen credentials. But when we deal with cookies, this is a little bit problematic because if the application is not set up properly, if the cookie stays around for a long time, then unfortunately you can use the cookies, as I mentioned, to actually bypass and get into the account as it was last open. Yeah. So part of the data, the cookie data, you get some additional, let's say, locations where the user might be logging in and what applications he might go to. You also get an overview of when the cookie expires. So to me, I think this is sort of interesting also for corporations because you can give them feedback is, yeah, maybe having a cookie for a year or a session token for this type of applications for users to log in for a year is too much. Maybe you should cut it down to maybe 1 week or 1 month, depending on the sensitivity of the data. So it can help you, the data. There's a lot of information in there that can help you to actually improve how your web application works. So this is a little bit about the info stealers, and I think that one of the main topics to take away is info stealers is here to stay. Yeah, and I will talk a little bit more why it is here to stay. But having been with the info stealers for working with it for the last year, I think one of the things is it's info stealers is like a hacker's porn. Yeah. I mean, you have the porn. Everybody knows, the porn industry, and it's not very, good for the society. But it's been happening, millennia ago in its own way, and it's going to continue in the future. Nobody really prospers from it. Same thing with info stealers. It's in the digital world. It came up. When you have data on your computer, somebody's going to want to take it, and info stealers is here to stay with us. Yeah. If you want more information, there's a really good website. It's at runany.run, and it's malware trends. And here you can see different viruses, how they are trending, which are getting more hits, and which are losing ground because some virus is more infectious. You also see the different types of viruses that are being monitored or that are most prevalent. So here in this example, we see that for this time period that I chose, that there was actually 2 info stealers as part of the top 5 viruses that were spread around and being tracked, where Lumina currently and consistently is on top of the #1 info stealer as far as number of infections. Yeah. What really gets me about the info stealers is there's a whole ecosystem. Yeah, and info stealers is not just some small group doing bad viruses, but there has really become a industry out of it. Yeah, it's being offered as a malware as a service. Yeah, so you have the developers who create the viruses. You have the brokers who go take the virus and try to spread it around, be it by phishing or by taking over some websites and putting the viruses on various downloads. You have customers who want this data to misuse it, and you actually have some, let's say, fixed pricing or some pricing that already has been established that is expected for a certain type of data. Yeah, I mean the ecosystem. Here's a really good diagram from SecureWorks of the whole environment. So you have on top, you have the malware developer. Yeah, he makes the malware. He gives it to the broker to spread around, or he resells the whole platform, and then he gets feedback from the broker or the platform saying, hey, I'm not getting this type of data, or the virus is not spreading, so they make modifications to the info stealer so that it works better. And some of the logs, when I've been looking at the raw data, I could see, for example, Lumina, and then I saw, June 10th, version June 10th, and version June 12th. Yeah, I mean, they actually version, and every day there's some innovation in the viruses. So the access broker, he basically infects the victim. The victim has its data sucked away through a control server. The logs get published on some dark web market or some Telegram forum, and then you have customers and different malicious actors who purchase the data to then do harm. Yeah, one of the things in my view is info stealers is oftentimes the prerequisite, for example, for ransomware. Yeah, so yeah, how do you install ransomware? Well, first you get info stealers, then you get into the system, and then you get the money by installing ransomware. So it's it just gets me. Yeah? And if you look at the popularity, there's also sort of trends, who has the biggest market share of the info stealers. Yeah, when I was doing some research a few months back, what really got me is Lumina really made a huge leap forward as far as market share, because the competition, Redline, got busted, and the whole network developing and spreading this virus was eliminated, and therefore the next gang, took over and got the market share. Yeah. How do you get infected? So it's typical, phishing, malicious websites, sometimes browser extensions. And to me, what I think is most worrying and concerning is the trends of getting info stealers onto your mobile, onto your mobile app. Yeah, this is a small percentage, but it's growing, and I'm sure as time goes on, as everybody's more mobile enabled, this number will grow, and will have a lot more devastating impact than just having your PC infected. Another example of info stealers is the predator, let's say, architecture, landscape, how they do it. So they basically infect the customer on the left, and they have a command or communication servers, and then they, I guess, centralize it into the first, let's say, hop, and then they hop again to give themselves more distance from the victim, and then they hop again. So they actually have multiple servers before you get actually to the threat actor. Yeah. So I mean, these are not let's say straightforward solutions. These are real, let's say, sophisticated and relatively extensive networks, just from the IT perspective. Yeah. And what is the infection rate from the OS? So typically, Windows is most common, so they of course get the biggest share. For Apple, Mac users, this is going up, and there can be an impact that, for example, the Poseidon info stealer was so dominant, basically made from Macs being safe to becoming a significant part of the infection percentage. You are now getting more infections for the Android and a little bit for the iOS. And if you're a Linux user like myself, then good news. We're the least interesting to attack, and maybe from this perspective, the safest operating system that's out there. But it affects also sometimes the Linux users. So let's take a little bit of a deep dive, and let's go back to the banking information, because I think the credit cards, it's a best way how to sort of describe the severity and the problem with info stealers. Yeah, it's one thing to take away your credentials, but you're still many, or let's say the malicious actor is still many steps away from getting to the money, getting to a cash reward. But when you talk about credit cards, I mean, you suddenly shorten a lot of steps, and you already have all the credit card data. So just like a little while ago, like I did the example yesterday, I did a query, and I looked at one of the biggest Czech banks. I looked at the product. It was a Visa debit card classic. And in the last, I guess, since 29th, Thursday, I think, there was 6 rows of infection, 3 users who were infected. One of the users, his data actually came up there 3 times. So this means that his data got taken. Then I guess it got sold here and sold there, and suddenly it was being offered on the darknet on various locations, and we were able to collect it all. One of the users, let's call her Lucy, she got infected 2 times, and you see, there's a little bit of a difference. You see when the data is uploaded. Yeah, sometimes you don't have the name. In this export, the good thing is you don't have the CVV. Yeah? Sometimes these logs, they actually have, when you flip the credit card, you have the CVV or CVC number. And again, this is something people shouldn't know. So luckily, no CVVs. And all of these dates that are on here, the credit card is still valid from a time perspective. Yeah, so I did a quick export, and then I decided, okay, let's sort of so you have a better feel of what info stealers is and what it looks like. Let's do 3 use cases. Yeah, let's look at those 2 users that we identified in this quick search, and let's have a deep dive. Let's see what we can learn about what sort of data got taken that could be misused, and basically look at the credentials, cookies, some metadata, and then looked at the raw logs, and then basically made some quick summaries. Yeah. So let's take a quick look at Lucy. Hi, I'm Lucy. And if you look at the info stealer log, and this is basically just the logins and password, one of the first things you can start telling is you can identify, and if you compare with some other data going deeper, you can identify that, yeah, there's somebody, there's a daughter using this system, there's the parent. You can see roughly, what they've been doing in the last little while. So, they travel, they like theater. Not the daughter, but you can see it's the adult. They're probably a smoker because they log into some online shop for smoking. What was sort of interesting, bad hygiene about this specific info leak is you see that Lucy has her name in her email, and Lucy is very much dominant in the passwords. Yeah, and the password doesn't really change around. It always starts the same. So you can sort of start getting a feel for who Lucy is, and what her behavior online is. Yeah, you can then go and maybe go into autofills, because part of the data that is taken away is autofills, and here it was everywhere. Yeah, so I type in Piestone, and popped up a lot of different web pages where they have Piestones, but there's in searches, because this is, I don't know why. For example, the HTTPS is in autofills. Typically, it's not. Typically, you have a search, and then you say, I want to search Piestone and additional grants or something. So this person is definitely a Piestone. They're also, and then, because as we looked at the previous slide, Lucy appeared there 2 times. So I actually looked at the 2 logs. There were minor differences, not very big, and there were some extra data in one of the logs than in the other one. So it's basically the same data. One was a little bit richer, one was a little bit poorer, but yeah, and that was what was taken. So if I were to summarize, a little bit about Lucy, so I, we can tell her name. She wasn't too bad. She only had 52 login credentials. Yeah, typically it's about 200, I would say, the average of the InfoStealer log. We know they use T-Mobile as their ISP. They had 9 emails, so different identities in there. How many people? Maybe deeper research would be able to tell. We could tell the mother and the daughter. We know where they work. We know the home address. We know the telephone number. We know what PC they use. Yeah, so we have the detailed log. We also see the cookie. Yeah, when I looked at the cookie data, you could see there was a cookie that's valid for a year, and it was on the 20th of October. So we know on 20th of October the data was still there. It got published. I think it was 29th. So 9 days later, we actually were able to have it in our database. So there was about 10 days time between the two. We see she used Windows 11, and when they upgraded, so about a year ago, and again you see username is Lucy. Yeah, so yeah, it's very revealing. So let's have a look at Mike. What is a little bit different? So again, we see the IP address. Mike is very specific because Mike only has 11 leaks credentials, but yeah, after looking deeper at the InfoStealer log, I wouldn't really say he's better off than Lucy. Yeah? We can again see what they do. We see they use ChatGDP. Now, when you talk about privacy and having your own data secure, somebody having access to your ChatGDP, seeing the history, seeing how you communicate, I mean, that tells a lot about the person. So I mean, having this type of access, in my view, is very detrimental to the people from who it escapes. And the specific thing with Mike is his hygiene, password hygiene is awful. Yeah. Here we can look at, for example, the cookies. So again, you see what type of things they're searching at. They're doing a lot of renovations, home improvements, yeah, a little bit of health style, buying some supplements, yeah, reading books. And basically the great thing about the tool, it's very simple, and it's a query tool. So here I basically just wanted to look at what do they do on the check domain. Yeah, we can get the confirmation of the date when it was infected, and as I mentioned, you can actually go back. You see some of the cookies, they're not correct, but a lot of the cookies they're still valid. Yeah, 2025, November 20th. So most of the cookies are still valid and misusable. If we look at the raw data of Mike, then again, his password and his computer name is almost the same. Yeah, he uses username is same as his username. On a PC. Again, you can see what he's using. They're using a notebook, Windows 11, or we can look in a log and see what they've downloaded. Yeah, and here we see a lot of downloads, and it was also visible in the InfoStealer log that there's leaked passwords to 2 mega. So you could actually, if you have the raw data, you could take the link and put it in the browser, and then you basically get to download their data unless the application is well structured and actually prevents this type of function. Yeah, just seeing where the people serve is, in my view, very, very detrimental. So what do we know about Mike? Well, he had only 11 logins, uses O2, 2 emails, but the password hygiene is awful. 60% of the passwords are the same. All the passwords, first 11 characters start with, it's always the same and only changes a star, or puts, I think it was 91 star. So there's 3 variations, so it's basically the same password. Yeah, and the computer name basically was the same password, except it was a little bit shorter than the typical 11 standard password. Yeah. InfoStealers also takes away, for example, some special logs, Facebook. So you can see here Mike only has 11 friends on his Facebook. You can see his identity that Facebook assigns to him. And unfortunate for Mike, even though he wasn't on the list, his CVC code for the credit card was actually in the raw log. So in this part, yeah, we don't always parse properly. We don't always get all the data from the logs, because all the logs are different. And here, poor Mike, if somebody really looked and tried to misuse his credit cards, well, they would have all the information, yeah. Let's look at Pete. Yeah, I think very much similar thing. The difference with Pete is a lot of cookies. Yeah, and here I did filtering for authentication. Yeah, and I think what's interesting here, you can see all the authentications. They all are valid cookies. And yes, if you want to bypass to multi-factor authentication, well, you're probably going to use some of these cookies with something else, and you don't need that mobile. Yeah, you can bypass it right away. Yeah, Pete is a big fan of OnlyFans. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to verify where Mike lives. So took a little picture, confirm where he lives. I realized that if you click on the most recent, you can actually see the history of Cessna Maps picturing it. So you can see there was a reconstruction, about 10 years ago. Pete is using 2 cars, blue and silver. And after 2019, he installed solar panels. And then we know where he works, where he went to school, his phone number. There's just so much about it. So, in conclusion, yeah, there's some general recommendations. Your typical, don't click on things, and update your software and use antivirus. But a lot of these, the logs I've seen it says antivirus defender, yet there's the log out there in the darknet. So a lot of these, in my view, are good advices, but not necessarily the key advices to take care of. Yeah, the main one, in my view, is yes, use multi-factor authentication. Don't store your passwords in a browser. Yeah, minimize add-ons. Log out when you use the application. Yeah. And watch for odd behavior. Yeah? If you suddenly get an SMS to authorize something and you haven't been on the web, then maybe somebody is using InfoStealers to get into your account, and luckily your multi-factor authentication saves you because you get a warning system. What I would like to take away or offer is I'm looking for somebody to help me with this, to build a project, a project where we can do some good. So basically build a system that takes InfoStealer data, processes it, identifies who has been compromised, and then sends automated information, giving them notice, hey, watch out, you have a problem here, you should do this, and that. Yeah. So I welcome any of you to contact me, and I love to work on this. There's already a proof of concept I did, so I just need more people to help me build a system such as this. And I think the last note, maybe last story I want to sort of emphasize is the world that we live in today. Yeah? I was thinking this week about my grandma. She lived to be 100 years old. She was born during World War II. She lived through World War II. And I was thinking, I never remember. She never used an app. Yeah, I don't remember sitting her behind a computer. Yeah, she did have a touch dial phone, like the number phone, but I never really seen her in the computer. And I consider, wow, she was lucky. She only had to live in one world. It was a physical world. It was simple. She saw the people. It was great. Where are we today? Well, today we are in two worlds, yeah? We are in the physical and we are in the digital. In the digital, we are swamped with all these types of information. But the main thing is we have to keep identities of both, yeah? We have to keep a good identity in the real world, and we have to keep our identity safe in the digital world. So thank you very much. I hope you learned something, and look forward to hopefully next year here again. Thank you.
When you said at the beginning that you called the victim and told him that his credit cards were stolen and you're offering him help, the problem is that this is basically the same thing that actual scammers are telling to their victims. It's it raises it's suspicious.
Yes.
So better is to just call the victim, say, hey, your credit cards are stolen, better to take care of it and don't offer any services. Or just say, well, if you want help, maybe you can contact me, but first contact your bank or some authority instead of immediately offering help, because this is just suspicious.
Yeah, and totally agree. And the bearer of the bad news is typically the one who gets hanged. Yeah. So I mean, if you come out and you say, hey, so you have a vulnerability here in the company, you're not necessarily going to get a positive clap on the back. Good job. It's like, leave me alone. You're bringing me trouble. Yeah. So, and maybe there was one more question. Okay. So thank you.